Hi, everyone. This is Krista Nash. Thanks for joining me here today. Today, if you're watching on video, you'll see that I'm coming to you actually from a new location. I try hard to not use these fake backgrounds with you all, partly because I just think they're hard to watch, but also I want you to be able to get to know me. And so today I've actually gone on the road and I'm at a retreat. Happened to be talking actually to a bunch of people who have gone through divorce themselves. And so I actually thought that today, as I think through my own former clients and current clients and some of their experiences that I'm hearing about in terms of people who I've met recently, I thought it would actually be a good time to record an episode that I hope many of you will listen to that is really just about kind of a primer on what to think about if you are entering into a family law case. And just a little bit of initial thoughts. We're going to cover a lot of things in this podcast in a lot of great detail, but this is a high level, almost what I would do if I were doing a consultation, which this is not. Just remind everyone, I'm not your attorney, and I'm not auditioning to be on this on this podcast. But I think that having some of that initial kind of high level thinking about what to think about when you're going into looking for a lawyer or just trying to consider, I'm thinking about getting divorced or legally separated. What do I need to think about? What do I need to worry about? What do I not need to worry about? Things like that. So I am licensed in Colorado and Wyoming. I am speaking predominantly from my own experiences in Colorado as an attorney. Be sure that you check out your state's individual laws so that you understand what your situation is more specifically. As you go into a divorce or legal separation, you it's kind of like, think about it, and this sounds crass, but think of it as sort of splitting up a business. The courts are looking at this usually just from really a business perspective when it comes to assets and debt. So you will be looking at a pretty deep dive into disclosures or production of documents to show that you have basically not hid anything, that you've disclosed and shared with the other person all of the assets and debt within the marriage. So sometimes that is controlled largely by one person. Sometimes we have actually financial abuse that is occurring where one party really the finances have been used as a mechanism of abuse for someone on the other parent or the other party. But regardless, you have to get to the bottom of all of the finances. So in Colorado, we have sworn financial statements. In other states, they're called different things, but that is something that you should expect, is to receive all of that sort of proof of what those accounts have. So I get questions a lot, especially from people who have not had any access really, or don't have any idea what their accounts look like. Rest assured that you will have the right to see and the expectation that the other person will share with you all of the different accounts. And there are requirements about not hiding things, requirements of basically full disclosure. That's true of debt as well. Now, sometimes people come and they say, well, things are titled in different names and I'm worried about that. I should have put my name on the house. In many states and in Colorado, definitely the separate titling of assets does not in and of itself just make it a separate property. Most pieces of property, assets, and debt are marital, whether they are titled in one name or both. There are some pieces of separate property that are dependent on states, but generally they involve gifts to one person and not the other. They involve property that's been kept separate completely, either through a prenuptial or through, for example, an inheritance that was never commingled with any other, mixed in with any other marital funds. There is not such a thing as separate property in terms of having separate bank accounts or separate credit cards or things like that. Though if a couple has lived that way, it can be a consideration. These are courts of equity, meaning we're looking for equitable distribution of assets in at least in Colorado and in many states. There's a lot of reasons that are absolutely reasons to end a marriage, and I also don't condemn anybody or to think ill of somebody who just believes that they need, for whatever reason they have, to move on. And if that's your stance and that's where you've come to, and perhaps, even if you've tried counseling and you've done everything you think that you can do in your power, and it's not time for you to stay anymore, then I understand and respect that that's what you've decided and you need to do. But I use that analogy of stained glass for a reason. No one who gets married thinks they're going to end up divorced. No one who starts a family with somebody wants to end up with the glass shattered and the relationship broken. And it's just not what you ever dreamt of, and it's not what you ever imagined when you walked down the aisle or made a child with a person. And so, as you look at that smashed that broken pile of glass, I just encourage you, please try to find ways, and there are ways. And my many of my clients have lived to prove it, that there are ways to do this in ways that preserve the dignity of your relationship, which, if you have children, is going to continue forever, because you're going to be parenting them forever. You're going to have grandchildren together potentially, and you can't just walk away and be done forever. And so because of that, and also just like I say, the dignity of the relationship, it's important that you try to end it well. So to the extent that you can, try to consider that there are ways to make this worse and ways to make it better.